right. Well, let's get right into it. What good things are happening here? Any wins? Let's start with some good things. And bad things are going to be with your coach. Wins, big, small. Um,
Any wins? No wins. Wow. Well, while you guys are thinking of wins, I got a guy named Derek Bingley out in Las Vegas or Los Angeles. Sorry, I was about to say Las Vegas. You guys had me in the wrong state. But they had their biggest revenue month ever in August after they made their third hire. And this was one of those things where, it's that inflection point. They're not quite big enough to really easily make a hire, nor are they small enough where they can, stretch the workload between the people that are there. It was that very, very uncomfortable space, before you have three full-time crews, and it's starting to pay out. August was the biggest month. We haven't got the numbers for September yet, but we will soon, and expecting that to be bigger too. So huge win for Derek. That was awesome.
wow. Way to go, Derek. Is that Derek Derek or um Errick?
EK.
Got it. Um, all right. Any other wins? Good things happening.
Yeah,
Great breakfast this morning. Yeah, Kenneth.
hi, how you doing, guys? Good morning. Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly new. I'm to the program still. With Nicole, but I do feel like I'm getting some stuff done this week for the first time, and believe it or not, in years, I was able to. I actually got hold of my phone company, Voice over IP, Vonage, or whatever, and I spent pretty much all morning because it takes time setting up the phones. I was able to erase a bunch of services that I wasn't using. I set up call recording because we're getting ready to hire an office manager. So it's exciting because I finally feel like it's been on the task for years, but I never get it done. But I'm having an agenda is really helping me out at this point of things that we're doing on a weekly basis. So it's cool.
That's incredible. Way
That
to go.
rocks.
That's what I love to hear. Yeah, I you
Finally
can't
got that done. It's crazy, but we had a problem. Uh, Sometimes I think not answering the phones and stuff like that. So and my Google local listing, Google local services is I went ahead and increased my budget. So I'm getting things done. So it's exciting.
huge. The power of focus. I cannot underestimate that. Turns out that's
Yeah.
very important. Well, that's really good. Yeah, any other last minute wins? I mean, we got some stuff to get into. But definitely want to hear. Shay Toya.
I would say, I mean, I feel like it's just like us being consistent and us doing the boring things, being consistent in
Oh,
the boring things, would be a win for us. I mean, just to add for a win.
oh my, you're preaching my message here. I guess we'll just dismiss. So, uh, no, that's
That's awesome.
huge. I'm gonna go deep into that. Super important. But I love that you're already thinking about that. That's crucial. No, thanks for sharing that. Um, all right. Last minute wins, interrupt me. Um, but let's get into this. So, I'm going to share my screen. I think this is the right one. All right. Okay, so what I want to cover here today is I want to go over, as you see here, 4 things you should never stop doing. This applies to all stages of business here. So there is not a single stage here where, well, this doesn't really apply to me. Whether you're solopreneur, starting to hire your first few people, whether you have 10 crews, it just doesn't matter. These things always apply. I encourage you guys, I want this to be interactive. If you just want to unmute and laugh for a second, that's okay with me. If you want to just put it in the comment or have a question, just be ready for that. You know, I love hearing from you guys. So, and answering questions. So let's just get right into it. So who knows what this is? I told you guys I wanted interaction.
The
So
Great
Wall
Wall.
of China, the Great Wall.
exactly, the Great Wall of China. So a little trivia here. How long did it take to build the Great Wall of China? I want to hear at least 3 answers, if not more. Just wild guess.
Hundreds of years.
120 years.
I need it's more specific than hundreds.
Wait, let
But
me
that
use
was good. I like the answer. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, maybe you could, but okay, hundreds. Let's hear one or
300
2 more.
years.
300 years. Anybody else?
I'll go with 500.
There we go. 500. One more answer. Come on. You guys are all like, come on, let's get over this. No, we need one more answer. Just one more. Anything.
10 weeks.
250.
There we go. We got a lot of answers. Okay, so the truth is I actually have no idea how long it took. So, but that's not the point. No, I tried to look it up. It was very vague and it was weird. I guess they may have like rebuilt it at some point. And it's actually happened over I think a span of like looked like 2,000 years, but they like rebuilt it and very confusing. I don't know if you know the answer, you could tell me. But here's the main thing. You know, I think we could all imagine it probably took a really long time. You know, most of us were saying in the hundreds of or more years. Turns out great things in life require the greatest amount of effort, consistency, and focus. So none of you got to where you are in business today by accident. Or unless if one of you have, you're really lucky. And you could let me know. So this is really, really important. Like I have on here, great things take time and consistency. You can't speed up time. That's just the way it is. So here's a good question. If it takes a long time to build great things, what opportunities have we missed by not starting on our path to greatness years ago? What could we have started 10 years ago? What could we have initiated earlier so that we could reap the rewards today? It's like, man, some of you may have a whole list of regrets coming through your mind. That's not the point. Well, maybe it is actually. Yes, it is. Because we could start that right now. There's never a time, and you might be in the middle of that path to greatness right now in certain areas of your business, your life, your whatever that might be. And just hold on, just like Shay Toya said, we've got to hold on to the boring things that work, and there's nothing that's going to speed up the time and the power of the consistency and focus. So what I want to do, let me rephrase this. The path to greatness will often feel repetitive, unmotivating, and it can just lead to complacency. So I've personally worked with, I didn't actually count, but I'm fairly certain I personally worked with over 100 businesses during my time here with Redmond Growth. Over this time, I've noticed areas where business owners tend to get complacent. Even though these activities are crucial to the long term of the success of your business, and really feeling like you're not just owning your own job, but really appreciating your business, these activities are still getting, experiencing some casualness. So I specifically, I'm not going to say these are the only 4 areas that I've noticed this in, but these are some of the biggest. And if you really love this call and you want another 4, then just, message me and say, I want part 2. And if no one messages me, I'm going to cry. No. Okay. So I have specifically picked 4 of these areas to cover with you today. Are you guys ready for this? We ready to go over this? Any hype? Woo, woo, woo. Come on.
Yeah.
There you go. I was hoping someone who didn't work for Redmond Gross was going to say that. So, all right, let's go with this. Now, don't promise me. I'm looking at the call count here, the attendance here. Don't drop off. 26. Don't drop off after this first one. Just stick at least to number 3. And you can leave after that. The first one, we've heard it so many times. It's not going to be that long, but it's huge. Guys, I see it time and time again. If you're not already on the Google review bandwagon, get on it yesterday. But I'm assuming you've already been with us for at least a couple weeks and have already started getting some Google reviews, or a couple months. You know, most people start with us having no idea how important Google reviews are. They get excited, able to rack up a nice chunk of reviews in a short amount of time, but then over time, the review gathering starts to slowly fade away, starts to slow down. You can never stop gathering Google reviews. You just can't. I'm not saying get 65 reviews every week. No, just got to be a consistent trickle and effort towards Google reviews every single week. It just can't stop. Google reviews are one of it's the strongest factor to your organic local map ranking and overall credibility and reputation. Let me put you guys on the spot. How many reviews have you gotten the last week? Somebody shout it out. If you have to cheat and look, let me know. It's okay. 7. Come on,
Yeah.
Greg. That's what I'm talking
Woo.
about. Proves my point though, because I think you're on week 2. So
I'm still asking. Some of the people have not given it to me. Yeah.
Okay.
They
You're
say
still
they
asking.
will, but they don't. They say they will, but they don't. It hasn't come through.
Which
Yeah,
is exactly Rudy's point. Is exactly that. You have to consistently ask. Reviews will drop off. Some will not pinned. Some people will say that they're going to leave you one and they never do. That's why you have to be so tenaciously consistent with it. Non-emotional about it. Because it is a necessary evil. You have to do it. So despite the hurdles, it's just something that always needs to be done.
Yeah, and it's, I know that especially after a year of being hounded by your coach with Google reviews, I know it can feel like, yes, I'm doing what I can. I just want to encourage you all, just keep that up. So let's talk about some specifics on that. No matter what stage you're in, once again, are you way behind your competitors? Are you way ahead of them? Does your competition have 10 times or 100 times more reviews than you? I know that there are some extremely competitive markets out there where sometimes it feels like, what's the point? Well, just get started now. Being 5th is a lot better than being 20th, because I promise you. And sometimes it's not always, well, if he has more than me, then I'm losing all the calls. No, trust me. You just do what you can right now. Get started. The journey is long. You will never regret starting right now. What if you're already dominating your market? Well, I have 5 times the reviews as everybody. Well, I hate to say this. Your competition is fierce. They will figure out the power of Google reviews if they haven't already, and they're going to come after you. It's like, if you're superstitious, I'm sorry, like I said that, but it's the truth. We have to assume they're going to get on that bandwagon. They're going to figure it out, and they're going to obsess over Google reviews. If you knew every single one of your competitors were on this call right now, how would that make you feel? You're like, oh shoot, I better start to asking again. This is the mindset we have. This is the mindset we need. So to make this real practical, here's just some of the consistent things that we need. We need a realistic weekly goal for Google reviews. And we need to actually review that goal. So what goal do you have set right now? If you don't know your goal, then neither will your team. If you're a solopreneur and you don't have a goal for yourself, you will coast. You will just, you're not, you better ask your coach, hold me to this goal because it's really important to me. And I may not hit it a lot, but I'm trying. That's the point of the goal. The goal, we don't set goals so that we can hit them and then let go. We set goals so that we can point the compass in the right direction, so that we're going north, whether it's 3 steps or 3 miles. Okay, the next thing here, when do you review this goal with the team? This needs to be a time and a place where you're holding your team accountable. If you're solely responsible for gathering reviews, if you're the one, for some reason, it's different cases here, then have your coach hold you accountable. I hate to say it, but sometimes when a coach feels like you don't want to hear it from him, we're going to stop bringing it up. I know sometimes I make that mistake, so can't speak for everyone. Well, this brings me to point number 2 here. When do we review those Google reviews, the goals? During your weekly meetings. Never stop weekly meetings. Okay, it actually looks like we went from 26 participants to 28. So we gained 2 people after that point. That's good news. If it was 23, I was probably not going to mention it. But okay, so never stop leading effective weekly team meetings. Team meetings can be extremely effective at managing your team and keeping everyone focused on the business goals, the team's goal. We've got to have that real clear. So who ran a weekly team meeting this week already? Well, already. I want to hear one of you. There we go.
We
Lee.
did.
Shay Toya. That's what I'm talking
KB
about. There we go. Kevin. I think that was Kevin.
The one and only.
There we go. I love it. And I'm glad that you mentioned, hey, we're continuing with the boring things because you're still doing it. And it's on the list. So if you didn't do it, I was gonna call you out. No, I wouldn't. But so effective team meetings. Let's talk about that. I'm not going to do a major deep dive into running a level 10 meeting because this will take way too long. But I do encourage, if any of these areas you're like, well, Google reviews, or I feel like there is room for growth in this area. Well, we probably have a group call specifically covering that area in depth, and just reach out or let us know if we need to send that over. I probably maybe we'll include it on the Monday morning meeting email. Bryce, I'll get with you on that. So, all right. Never stop running effective team meetings. What do you cover in those meetings? We'll kind of just hit some bullet points here. Celebrate wins. Guys, connect with your team. Celebrate things that are going well in their lives and in their business. I know sometimes it can get a little awkward. If you've never had that kind of conversation with your team, it's like, okay, what's the catch here? Why is he asking about this? But just make it a habit. Just start. It's okay.
Arnold's Plumbing just put in the chat that his meetings are Friday mornings and he includes breakfast. If you have a hard time getting your team to make those meetings, if the enthusiasm is low, you know what always gets people a little bit more open, a little bit more happy? Free food and coffee. Yes, it is a very effective move.
I love that. That is great. And he's in Oklahoma City, so I may
He
stop
sure
by
is.
one of these mornings because free food. Absolutely love that. That's incredible. That's huge. I'm glad to hear that. And he's a review king, isn't he?
Yes,
Dale.
I checked this morning and he has over 630 reviews. And he started with less than 10 only a couple years ago.
All right. I'll let him cover the next 2 points after this, but no, great job, Dale. Keep it up. That's incredible. Next thing we want to do in these meetings is review key performance indicators. And I know we talk about this so much, but that's the whole point of this call. I have personally talked to a client in the last couple of weeks where they're like, well, we were reviewing it, but we've been doing it for a while. And honestly, I kind of got a little, this is the Jonathan version of it. I got a little casual with it. And, I was like, well, if so-and-so hasn't been performing well the last 3 weeks, what is he saying in your calls or in your weekly meetings? It's like, well, we kind of stopped going over that the way we used to. I was like, well, that's, this conversation should have taken place 3-4 weeks ago, not now. And so, that's just one of those reasons. You just got to keep it up. You got to actually review it with the team, actually talk about it. Brings me to my next point. Actually hold them accountable. Have them take ownership of their results. I could go on this for the whole group call, but we got some other content to go through. Guys, cover issues and solve them together. I know that you're not going to solve the world's problems in a team meeting, but let's solve the issues of the week, talk about it, solve them together. Assign to-do items. When you talk about different tasks that come up that need to be done, get in the mindset and the habit to immediately write that down on your document, your weekly meeting agenda that everyone can see, and they know you're going to bring it up the next week. It's as simple as that. Oh, hey, Joe, you said you're going to, talk to this customer about XYZ. All right, let me just write that down here. Like, don't you trust me? Yeah, I do. And I trust we're going to talk about it next week. So, it's just, we've got to just get in the habit, write that down. When they know it's written down and you're not going to take that off that agenda until it's done. It changes the atmosphere on how we get things done. Now, if it's not done, I'm not saying shame them, but just talk about it. Let's just go from there. Review last week's to do. So just like I talked about, just if you have a written down to-do list of things you talked about the next week, just review it next week. Very simple. Now, this format does not change and should not change. What I mean by that is not that you can't, customize it to fit your business better or your team better, but generally fits within this framework. And then once you find something that works, don't try and get complacent with it, and don't, we're not going to really hold them accountable anymore. And, just if it works, stick with it. You just got to stick with it. There's no reason to ever stop it. Okay. Why talk about the same things over and over again? Like, guys, we've covered Google reviews again with the team, and we've covered the KPIs again. And I know it can be repetitive and almost feel that way with the team sometimes, or maybe all the time. But here's the truth. The moment you stop talking about something is the moment they assume you no longer care about it. I'm telling you, I've fallen victim to this. I remember, I think it was a while back, one of our bosses, one of them, so guys, why are we stopped doing this? I'm like, well, we stopped talking about it. Well, shoot. I was like, maybe you got it. No, I'm just kidding. It's my fault. We can't do it. But it's a mistake, but we still will always do that. You can't, if something is important to my boss or your boss, or, well, I guess you guys don't have bosses. So, to your wife or your husband, they will talk about those things. If it's not important to you, you don't talk about it. That's just the way it is. So just bring it up all the time. So never stop training your team and elevating them to the standards of your company. That's the kind of thing you want to bring up all the time. Hey guys, how are we doing on customer service? Sometimes we talk about, well, I always take care of my customers. Well, how many times do you bring that up to your employees? If you're not talking about it, then they don't think it's important. Just those kinds of
And
things.
they can't read your mind. Just like how with your spouse, sometimes they might be upset at you because you're not doing something, but they're not telling you what they need. The exact same thing here. People need 1,000 nudges. And so if you are not communicating to them what you expect from them, and if you are not giving them the tools that they need to be able to do that or remember to do that, like if you've told them 1,000 times, but it's not on a checklist, but they don't have a checklist. If you're not giving them the tools that they need to succeed, then you're failing them. They're not failing you. They're not an entrepreneur. They're not going to just see something and do it. That's why they're an employee. And so you have to have that 1,000 nudges. You have to give them the tools that they need to succeed.
Huge. Absolutely. Great point. I love it. When Nicole is able to emphasize your point, it feels like you're doing something right. So if anyone want to take the baton next time and try that out, it makes me feel good. So, all right, here's number 3, guys. Never stop building systems. Should we start a chant? Never stop building systems. No, we don't need to do that. But so systems, checklists, processes, SOPs, documentation, none of these things happen overnight. It's a lot of work, but there should always be a system, a documentation, a process, something you're making progress in. You can do a system of the month. The good old SOTM. Yeah, you don't need an acronym for that. In fact, I don't recommend it. So here's the thing. Here's why they're so important. Systems are the only thing that will take your business from feeling like you own your own job to feeling like you can finally breathe and enjoy being a business owner. Let that sink in. There you go. These are crucial. It's the only thing that's going to make you feel so glad that you are where you are. So let's talk about some hypothetical situations here. What if every one of your employees were gone in 12 months? It's like, whoa. Now, if that happens, don't come finding me. That's not me. That's just, you know, it's just coincidence sometimes. You know, it just happens. So here's the deal. This is just hypothetical. Stay with me, but replacing employees can be tough enough, but having zero systems in place to train them, to elevate them to your standards, to bring them on board is way worse. So let's set ourselves up. That's just one example. Let's not, if every time someone's onboarded, we have to ask, well, he's the only one that, he likes it a certain way. Well, why haven't we trained them in a certain way? Why haven't we built a system in a certain way? Let's stop getting addicted to keeping everything so far within our reach and our control that we're too afraid to create a system. And go through with your coach about that. I know it's easier said than done. If there is no company standard, documentation, SOPs, checklists, service call checklist, quality checklist, you're left with the mood of the day kind of standard. And we all know, I don't even trust myself with the mood of the day standard, let alone employees who sometimes, that just means not showing up to work. Lack of systems breeds inconsistency. So as your business grows and changes, new systems are going to need to be created. And so super important. We've got to make sure we're always keeping an eye on what are we working on right now? What's going to be important here? What area do I need help in? What's area I need to bring more consistency in? I think I have another slide. Okay. Here's just a few examples. Take a screenshot if you'd like. This is definitely not exhaustive, but just an idea. Like, well, what systems? We always talk about systems. What does that mean? I don't really know where to start. All these things: onboarding, service calls, sales process, inspection, this kind of documentation. Yes, Kenneth, I don't even care if you're pretending to take a photo. At least that was the move. The camera in front of the webcam. I love that. This.
Sorry about that.
No, I love that. That was not that was a good thing. All right. Point number 4. Are we all still with me here? I know I'm talking a lot here. I'll get one yes from someone who. Yes. That was, I saw it.
All
Wait.
here.
Justin, I saw that. I was scrolling through real quick. All right, number 4. Never stop this.
If you guys want to know, Rudy does this to himself a lot. Nobody makes Rudy laugh more than Rudy does.
All the time, literally.
He will crack himself up. He'll be in the middle of telling us something and something will tickle him and we'll just stand there looking as he's just losing it. You just got to give him his moment.
I definitely forgot this was on here. That's why I'm just caught myself off guard. Who's seen Jerry Maguire before? The movie. There you go. Greg, Leaf, a few of you. This is my favorite part. Show me the money. Can't have this on there without yelling that at least one time. So, guys and gals, never lose focus on profitability. This is the reason you're in business. I got to get that GIF out of there. GIF or GIF. I've heard both. I'm never going to know which one it is. Profitability is the reason you are in business. Protect it with all you can. If you knew for a fact that your profits would be mediocre for the next 10 years, Would you stay in business? Would you choose to stay in business? You'd probably close your doors and get a job without the stress of dealing with the business. Profitability is the only thing, well, and systems, I can't say only twice, that's just the difference between having the business and just going to go get your own job. Why would you not make sure there's profitability? This is the reward of the business owner. So I'm not going to go 6 hours on profitability, but profit first implementers, don't get casual with your profit first allocations. If you have no idea what profit first is, the book, go buy it. Ask us about a profit first. Ask your coach about profit first. And they may say, yeah, I know Jonathan was talking about it, but it's not the time yet for that. And just please listen to them if that's what they say. But guys, don't get casual with your profit first allocations. Get serious about your profit first accounts. And if you're having to make transfers, from profit to owner's comp to save or owner's comp to save your operating expenses account, that's a serious problem. That cannot go on for long. Everyone's done it. Don't worry. I'm not like upset at you, but just know that that's the whole point of profit first. If we're having to save the day by transferring accounts and balances to make a payment or make payroll and so forth, something has to change. Something. So don't just ignore that. That's profit first system telling you, hey, I got your back. We have some extra money here, but this can't go on for a while. We've got to change something. So what are some of the biggest factors to profitability? I wrote down just a few. These are not the only factors. The difficult thing with profitability is I know it can feel like, 53 layers of 3D chess, and just it could feel like a massive problem you don't even know how to start tackling. It's more simple than that. That's the good news. But here's some of the biggest factors: effective business systems, pricing strategy. It's very common that we're underpricing, and then cost control. Are we just spending out of our mind? Is there, in profit first, they talk about, well, can you hold off on that expense just one more day and then do that 2 weeks in a row? What if we had that mindset a little bit more intentional with how we're spending our money? This is it's a very indirect effect on your profits, but it has an effect on your profit. It's your customer experience, satisfaction. If people just absolutely love their experience with you, turns out you're going to get more repeat customers and you have to spend less on marketing. It's like, wow, you really found your way there somehow. But yes, so these things are important. Innovation and efficiency. This one's tough because it's one of the biggest drivers to profitability, and it can feel like the most, daunting sometimes. It's like, really, you're gonna expect me to, find a new pipe to use, and that's. I'm gonna stop trying to make that analogy. I get it. But there are efficiencies in your business that still need to happen. You may not, recreate and find a plant that we can use instead of lumber, to build your next house. I get that. I understand. Or maybe you will do that. I don't know. I won't limit you here, but you have to look for the efficiencies. So if you're not looking for efficiencies, you won't find them. I love this analogy here. We'll call it the red car analogy. I think that's a thing. I don't know. I saw it on like Facebook or something, so I loved it. And we talk about who's Justin, I'll call you out. You're driving. How many red cars have you seen on the road up to this point?
Trying to make me crash.
Please don't crash.
Not seeing any right now, but
No. Well, not now. Don't look right now, but just up to this point during the call, how many have you seen?
Well, I haven't consciously looked for any, so 0 that I remember.
Bingo. That's the whole point. And so if you're not looking, but now I say, just moving forward, how many red cars are there for the second half of the
There's one right in front of me now.
There you go. Boom. Now he takes note of them. It's going to be the same thing with efficiencies. If you're not looking for efficiency and you're stuck in the box of, well, this is the way I've been doing things and there's no better way, then you're putting the blinders for those red cars. You're not going to see them. You're not going to be thinking about them. So we've got to, at the very least, Shay Toya, I'm seeing one right now. I love it. There you go. It's all just popping up when you're looking for it. So that's the main thing. I know it's not as easy as that, but the principle is still true. Efficiency and shortcuts and better ways of doing things don't just pop up out of the bushes and say, I'm here. You've got to look for them. So I encourage you, have a time and a place, you know, even ask your team, hey, are there things we could be doing better? Like, well, you asked me this last week and no, still no. Well, if they're not getting annoyed by that question, then maybe we need to, you know, ask it more. Okay, so that's the big thing here. I know there's so much into profitability, but guys, let's just not lose focus on the things that we can do. We're not going to notice them. All right, quick summary. Heads up, we're going to do breakout rooms in about 2 minutes. We're going to ask you about these things, and maybe it's not even going to be related to this. I realize that sometimes we cover so much, you're like, I don't even know what we just did. Here's your cheat sheet. Okay, here's your cheat sheet. Write it down if you want to talk about it. Which one of these are probably going to be important to you?
And provide that if you want.
I was pretty curious what was going to be said there, but like maybe we're just going to mute it. All right, so yeah, that's the quick summary. If you want part 2, here's things that we could cover. Here's bonus nevers. Never stop mentoring your team. Never stop attempting to minimize your accounts receivable. I know that's a huge one. I probably should have included it on here. Never stop treasuring and sorting your leads. I think there's another one. Never lose sight of your ultimate goal. Never stop reviewing progress and making adjustments, personally and with the business. All right, let's do this. Breakout room time.